Before installation begins, check the required screws. The original screws shown here on the top line are US Standard 832 threads. The silver screws on the second line are those which will be provided by our company. US Standard screws are on the left with coarse threading, while European Standard screws are on the right with finer threads. In this video, we will use the US Standard screws on the left. But in the field, we will face different ATM brands and models with different screw standards. Please verify the required screws before installation. The first step is to install the entry pad mounting shoulder screws. If it is difficult to install the screws, you'll likely require a different thread type. If the screws turn easily, you've chosen the correct threading. Next, feed a portion of the cable into the entry pad housing and clip the cable behind the strain relief clip as shown. The entry pad screws engage with these two positions on the back of the entry pad. To begin the entry pad installation, feed approximately 10 to 15 centimeters of cable into the entry pad. Our cable length is 30 centimeters, so half of the cable length should be left inside the entry pad as shown here. Next, feed the remaining cable through the spindle hole and place the entry pad on the shoulder screws. Be very careful not to pinch or damage the cable. Then press down on the top of the entry pad to lock in place. The next step is to install the battery compartment. The locking mechanism on the battery compartment ensures the battery drawer stays in place, but also locks the entry pad onto the mounting shoulder screws. Insert the battery compartment and lock in place as shown. This completes the installation of the entry pad. Now we're going to install the lock. Before installation, we need to inspect the lock. First, check to be sure all the necessary labels are in place. Verify that the VDS or UL certification label is affixed to the lock. Every lock will have a barcode and a serial number, as well as a date seal label. The date seal must be intact for warranty purposes. Next, check the lock body itself. This is an anti-punch plate. Check to be sure the anti-punch plate is secure. If it is loose or misaligned, do not use this lock. Next, check the lock bolt to be sure there's no evidence of damage or wear marks on the bolt, as this could indicate a lock bolt that is not functioning correctly. Finally, check the input ports. These ports will receive the 4-wire lock cable. The small input port is to add a door sensor. Ensure that all ports are flush with the lock case. After the lock inspection, we can start to install the lock. There is a channel on the lock body to receive the lock cable. Make sure that the lock cable is positioned to run through this channel so that the cable will not be damaged when the mounting screws are tightened. Also ensure that the cable will be positioned away from moving boltwork mechanisms. Now we will begin the installation. Install these two screws. Do not tighten these screws down at this point. Critical point in the assembly, as this screw takes most of the force applied by the boltwork as the handle is turned. For this reason, we recommend using a screw adhesive to ensure the screw remains properly installed. Do not use too much screw adhesive. We recommend applying the adhesive to the last two threads at the end of the screw. This will be sufficient. Then install and tighten the screw. Check the cable to ensure it's properly installed in the channel and can move freely. Go ahead and tighten all screws. Now we'll complete an inspection of the lock installation. First, the cable. Ensure the cable can move freely and that it's properly positioned in the channel and not squeezed or crimped by the lock case. Connect the cable to the lock. Next, check the lock bolt. There must be a 1 to 2 millimeter clearance between the lock bolt and the boltwork mechanism. Turn the handle to make sure this clearance is maintained. Check to be sure that the screws are tightened properly and the lock is securely fastened to the lock mounting plate. Check to ensure the entry pad is securely attached to the safe door also. The installation is almost complete. The last part of the installation is to reinstall the relocker plate. For this particular ATM safe model, this relocker pin must be pressed down before installing the relocker plate. Then secure the relocker plate. Notes: 1. Confirm the compatible screws to be used to install the safe lock. 2. Entry pad installation. Install the entry pad mounting screws. Make sure that 10 to 15 centimeters of cable is inserted into the back of the entry pad. Ensure the cable will not be crimped or damaged as the entry pad is installed. 3. Lock body installation. Check the anti-punch plate, check the bolt for damage or wear, and ensure that the input ports are flush with the lock case. 4. Ensure the cable is routed through the channel away from the moving boltwork mechanism and is not crimped between the lock body and the mounting plate. Make sure that there is 1 to 2 mm clearance between the bolt and the boltwork. Reinstall the relocker plate.